What is the dumbest reason why someone at your workplace got fired? I was at a summer camp, and 2 teenage boys, like 16 years old, got into a fight. A slightly older, female camp counselor, maybe 19 or 20 years old, ran to get help breaking up the fight. She was pretty small. The guys were pretty big. She got fired because she left the kids unattended for maybe 45 seconds while she went to get help. I work for the Canada Revenue Agency, and we are instructed to never look at our own file upon being hired and told in no uncertain terms that it will be immediately flagged and would be the end of your career. At least once a year around tax season, I will get a memo reminding us of this, because several people looked up their own file. Plugging your phone into your computer is also a big no-no because it can store information or compromise the network. I get yearly reminders about that too. I once watched a coworker plug her phone in. I told her to take it out, but it was too late, and she was escorted out within the hour. A coworker infested the office with fleas, but he didn't get fired until he did it a second time. The first time it happened, the boss closed down the office and had an exterminator come in and told the guy, "Here's a laptop. You telecommute now." It turned out he lived in a trailer with over a dozen stray cats. He kept taking in these strays and just not doing anything for them. No shots, no flea treatments, not even a bath. So pretty soon, the whole place was infested with fleas. He just didn't realize how bad it was because he was on some cocktail of medications that made him smell odd. Apparently the smell made the fleas not want to bite him. They just got in his clothes, and he carried them to work. After a few days, he was already complaining to my boss that the laptop didn't work right. My boss tried to send me to this guy's trailer to fix whatever was wrong, but I said I would rather quit than set foot in Fleapalooza 2012. So, he told my coworker to just deal with it himself. A couple weeks later, the guy came into the office to pick up his paycheck. In the 30 seconds he was inside, he infested the place again. After that, everyone threw a fit. The boss only fired the guy to avoid a full-scale revolt. Guy tried to hit on the girl that helped us clean up after closing time by inviting her to the back for some fun times, just me and you, baby. Girl was 15 years old and the daughter of the owner. Dude I knew in the army was supposed to go on leave for a month, so he got high that weekend, but his flight got canceled. Monday morning there was a mandatory drug test and he popped hot. Dude I worked with at an outdoor retail store lit off a can of bear spray, indoors, during business hours. I wasn't there at the time, but as the outdoor supervisor, I got called in to deal with the mess. Thankfully, the idiot fired it into a corner behind the gear counter, so he mostly got himself. However, bear spray comes out in a kind of dense fog, unlike regular pepper spray that comes out in a stream. The whole store had to be evacuated, and it took like 4 bottles of neutralizer to get the carpet clean again. Dum Dum claimed he dropped it by accident, but the security camera showed him very clearly popping the safety and hitting the thumb trigger. During his out-processing, the GM and I showed him the video and asked what was actually going through his head. He said, "I wanted to see how bad it was. It was really bad." The intrusive thoughts won, I guess. Last I heard, the dummy had bought a tow truck and started a towing business. New office assistant was asked to drop some laptops off at FedEx to be shipped. Come to find out, she literally just walked in, saw the line was too long, and just left them on the counter. She expected FedEx to know what to do with them. We have no idea what happened to them. They decided to keep her, which was a mistake because she ended up emailing all of our competitors' highly sensitive information by mistake. I work at a factory. We use a temporary worker system, where a separate agency will do the hiring process. They work at the factory, and usually if they show up and do a passable job, they get hired. The bar is low for a reason, though. We had these 2 utility workers get into some kind of sports-related argument on the line one day. One is temp, one is not. They start to get loud enough that people are looking around corners to see what's up. Temp guy does a thing where his looks like he is doing an exercise to touch his toes, and pulls a knife out of his shoes. He sends the people nearest to him running in panic as he attacks the other utility guy. Knife gets pulled to the ground and disarmed. Cops get called, but he runs away before they show up. Immediately fired, and I never found out honestly if he was arrested or not. The guy who was attacked almost lost his job anyway, because of a bullshit no-tolerance policy. He pantsed a guy in the middle of the office, literally pulled a coworker's pants down in front of the full office. Underpants came along for the ride. The pantser was fired. The pantsy was off work for 6 weeks due to distress. This company I worked for had a pretty nice little cafeteria in the office building. A very senior manager, think 2 steps from the CEO, would go into the cafeteria every morning, order 2 pancakes at the grill station, then walk out of the cafeteria without paying. This went on for months. The cafeteria manager was told that this was a high-power executive, so the cafeteria manager thought, maybe that's how it works. One day, the CEO goes in for breakfast and stops to pay for his food. The cashier is surprised and says something like, "I thought all the upper managers got free food." CEO: "No, we don't. What made you think that?" One awkward conversation and an hour of reviewing security footage later, and a man who spent over 20 years building a career in which he was making no less than $400K USD annually, circa 2010, plus big 401k contributions, has been fired for stealing pancakes. She already had a few trips to HR, and then got moved to another department at another site. She went out to her car to go to lunch, then came back into the office. She then claimed someone put a note on her car in the parking lot that read, "Get out of town, racial epithet. Hands note to supervisor." She got loud in the office area, started to list off names of who she suspected, and everyone heard what was going on. HR pulls her into a meeting later that afternoon and says, "We had security pull the video recording of the parking lot for the first 4 hours of the day. Do you wish to change your story?" She was let go immediately. He took a turn too fast on the fork truck, got 2 wheels lifted off the ground. Supervisor told him to cut it out and drive safe. Safe? Safe? Nothing in this place is safe. And then he spent 20 minutes running around the plant floor, tripping alarms and setting off the emergency air horns to prove that none of it worked. All of it worked. He finally left when the super threatened to call the cops. Everyone was real confused about his outburst, until we found the half-empty bottle of tequila out behind the dumpster.